This backpack has traveled around the world, been to several countries, and on a gang of flights. And now that I've been able to put it fully to the test, I can confidently say that this is the very best budget travel backpack for almost everyone. Let's talk about it. What's up, my dude? Your friendly neighborhood Tony here, and welcome to the Spare Tech Room, where I try to channel the power of hyperfixation to hopefully help you make better tech choices. Now, what I've got here is the tomtoc 28-liter travel backpack. And there are a bunch of things that I absolutely love about this backpack, but a few things that might be complete disqualifiers for you. But we'll get into those a little bit later. For now, let me tell you a little bit about this backpack and let you know exactly why I love having it. So in this video, I'm not going to give you a full and complete detailed breakdown of every single piece of the backpack. I actually already did that in my unboxing and walkthrough of it. So if you want to see that, I'll go ahead and link to that video up here and at the end of this one. So after you watch this, go ahead and jump into that and check that out so that way you can get more information about the bag. Just a little bit of information about this bag in particular. One, it is from the company Tomtoc, and if you're not a bag nerd like I am, Tomtoc makes really high quality bags, backpacks, sling bags, tech cases, and they make them all with top tier materials for budget prices. So if you know me at all, then you know that that is right up my alley. And the main reason I decided to go with this particular backpack, the 28 liter, not to be confused with the larger version of this bag that they make, I went with this version because it is the biggest personal item sized backpack that I could find. Now, when I say personal item, if you don't know what that means, I'll try to explain real simply. When you take a flight, there are a couple different ways that you can bring a bag with you. One is you can always check a bag, right? That's where they put it under the plane and you pick it up from the carousel when you get to your destination. Then you can get a carry-on bag, which goes into the overhead compartment on the plane that you bring on with you. Generally, those are going to be mid-sized bags or even wheelie bags that people bring with them. But unfortunately, not every flight lets you bring a check bag or even a carry-on bag for free. So in those cases, you want to look into bringing a personal item. And the personal item dimension requirements change from flight to flight, but in general, this size bag will work for most domestic and international flights. As I said, I went on a bunch of flights with this. I think in total, it was on about 10 flights. Some of those were domestic, some were going overseas to Europe, some were even smaller kind of puddle hopper flights over in Europe. So even on those smaller planes where they have more strict bag requirements, it worked totally fine. So that's a big reason why I decided to go with this. That, and of course, the fact that Tomtoc is a pretty reputable company and I've used a lot of their bags so far and really like them. But now that I have some experience with it, what are some of the things that really worked for me? Well, first off, the materials. The materials on this bag are super solid, and just by touching it, you can feel that it's made of high quality materials, whether it's the exterior, the fabric that it's made out of, the zippers are all YKK zips and they move really easily and don't get caught or anything like that. The buckles as well are really durable. The straps and all the different touch points of the bag are really strong and sturdy. So for me, I had, of course, clothes in this backpack, but I also had a bunch of electronics, whether it's the camera setup that you're looking at me through right now, or a bunch of chargers, handheld game systems, all kinds of stuff. This bag was really loaded out and was actually pretty heavy. And because of the strong materials, it all held up just fine. I also really like all of the compartments that come on the bag. There are a couple things that I don't love about the particular compartments, but we'll get into that when I get into the cons on this video. But overall, I really like the ability to kind of just pack this thing out in a number of different ways. It really worked for me. For example, you have this front kind of vertical pocket here that you can easily throw things into. You have a top quick stash pocket as well. It opens a couple different ways for you to access the items inside. One is this kind of horseshoe zip around the front where you can open that up and get into your items. And the other, which is really handy, is where the tech compartment is, where the laptop compartment is rather. This unzips fully and the bag just kind of splays open like a book, but long ways. And that will allow you to get into the main compartment of the bag, but also allow you, if you're going through TSA, to leave your laptop in the bag and just open it up all the way and slide it right through the X-ray machine. So that's really handy. They really thought through a lot of the things that you might need or want, especially if you're traveling with this backpack. I also like a couple little things. I like the fact that it stands up on its own really easily. That's just a handy feature to have. I like that it has handles that you can grab from the top and from the side, so it's easy to throw into an overhead compartment or just grab out of the back of your Uber. But I think one of the things I love the most about this bag is the back side of it. The straps, the harness, and the padding on the back, I think are super comfortable. Like I said, I had this thing packed out and I was wearing it for long periods of time, long travel days, and I'm a delicate flower. Okay. So the fact that I was able to wear this on a long trip and barely complain about it, that's saying something. The straps themselves are super thick and plush. You have, of course, a sternum strap as well that really does help take kind of some of the load off of your shoulders. And the padding on the back here is also super plush and comfortable. You'll notice there's also kind of a mesh kind of pattern to it. It helps with the heat, to kind of keep the heat off your back, as well as these big channels in the middle of the bag that allow air to flow through. So even though I wasn't traveling necessarily in super hot climates or anything like that, it totally worked for me. My back did not get hot at all. Now, I do live in Florida, which is basically the surface of the sun, and it is the middle of the summer right now. But even with that, wearing this bag around just a little bit in the heat here, I didn't have much of a problem with it. Now, of course, the bag itself is all blacked out, so that is going to conduct a lot more heat than maybe a bag of a different color. But for me, I didn't have much of a problem at all. Oh, and one last thing that I appreciate on here, I didn't have to use this, but they are here if you need them, is both sides of the bag have compression straps. So if you are in a situation where you're maybe worried that the bag might be a little too big to carry on as a personal item, you can just cinch it down with those compression straps and make it significantly smaller. So that's a nice to have as well. Now, of course, I didn't love everything about this bag, and there are a couple of things that stuck out to me as cons, and they might even be things that will completely not work for you. So let's get a little nitpicky here. For one, even though I do like all of the different compartments on the bag, they are a little questionable, specifically this front vertical pocket here. Now this opens up, as I mentioned, vertically, and you can reach in and you have a lot of space in here to access your stuff. But two things. One, there is no internal organization in this pocket. So if you're trying to maybe have like little phone chargers or little knickknacks that you want to throw in here, it's just one big bucket of space and things are going to get kind of mixed around there. I had some cables and whatnot in there and they definitely got tangled up together. So that was a little annoying. Also, it is a vertical pocket, which is both a pro and a con. One, it's a bit odd because if you open it up this way, things aren't going to stay securely inside the pocket. But what it's really for is that if you have this on your back and you swing it around to the side, you'll be able to access this pocket. And it then goes from being a kind of side pocket to a top-down pocket. So that's basically what that's for. So that's both a pro and a con there. Now the pocket on top here, which is kind of a quick access pocket, this one is again a bit of a pro and a con. It's a pro because this pocket opens along the top of the bag. It doesn't go into the bag. And that could be a pro because that means it doesn't eat up any of the space inside your bag. But it can be a con because if you're opening this up sideways, again, things aren't dropping into the bag, so they're not as secure. They can slide out a little bit easier. Now, of course, if you have this bag slid under the seat in front of you, if you're on a flight, then that pocket does turn into kind of a vertical space. So you can drop things in there and it is going to be a bit more secure. So I think that's kind of what they were thinking about when they came up with that idea. One thing that can't be misconstrued as a pro, though, is the fact that inside this pocket, it's just kind of a standard liner material. I know a lot of times these pockets will have like a felt lining because you tend to throw things like your phone or your sunglasses in here and you don't want them to get scratched up. And although I didn't have problems with anything getting scratched up in this pocket, I would be maybe a little concerned with throwing, if I had really expensive sunglasses or something like that in here, or if I didn't have a screen protector on my phone, I would be a little wary about using this pocket for very much. Another thing I didn't love about this backpack is along the side here, these water bottle pockets. They are decent. They're definitely heavy duty and they have a little bit of elasticity to them, but they're not super elastic. And so if you have a thick water bottle, it is going to be a little tight getting that in here. Or if you're using maybe like an umbrella or a tripod, it doesn't go super deep. So it could be a little tricky to kind of keep your things in this pocket. Again, you can use these compression straps. And in fact, I did use this because I had a longer water bottle and I would slide that into the pocket and then just kind of use the compression strap to really lock it down into place. So you can do that as well. And just two more things. One other thing that I think is a bit of a con here is the luggage pass-through. Now I love that it has a luggage pass-through because those are super handy to have. But I don't love that it's a vertical pass-through because with that, the only way to slide it onto your luggage is to do so sideways. And that just gets a little messy. You know, the straps get in the way and it can be a little clunky. I would definitely prefer if the luggage pass-through was along the kind of horizontal side of the bag here. But that's just a personal preference. One thing that is a con, though, that is not a personal preference, and it's just a straight up con, is that this bag is advertises being somewhat water resistant, right? It's not waterproof, of course, but in my experience, it is not. So if you are stuck in heavy rain and if you have expensive electronics in here, I would be a little wary. I would definitely pack them towards the bottom of the bag, which, you know, you should be doing anyway. Definitely with this bag, under heavy rain, water seeped through the top. So that is something to be aware of. And as someone who lives in Florida where it's either blazing hot outside or pouring rain during the summer, that's a bit questionable. But these cons might not be cons for you. They might not be cons for everyone. A lot of this comes down to what you're looking for. And with the price that this is coming in at, can't really complain. Normally this backpack is listed for around 75 bucks on Amazon where I picked it up. But right now, and actually for the past couple days, it has been on discount for the lowest price that it's ever been. So if you want to check out the tomtoc travel backpack 28 liter, I will link to it in the description box below. I'll link the bigger version as well if you're looking for a larger bag. But again, remember that this is the perfect size for a personal item. But yeah, I'll link to it in the description box. If you use those links, it does help out the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. And in fact, it saves you money because right now it's on heavy discount. If you want to see more about this bag, as I mentioned before, I have a full walkthrough and overview of the bag. I will link to that right here at the end of the video so you can jump on into that next. If you have any questions about this bag, let me know in the comments below. Or if you have any bags that you want me to compare this to, I'll be totally happy to do that. Again, here in the Spare Tech Room, I'm just trying to help you make better tech choices. So let me know whatever questions you have in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you next time in the Spare Tech Room. Be good.